Yo, what is up, everyone? Welcome back to this brand new episode of Hockeytown Rundown. You're here with us, your beautiful hosts, once again, Carlo and Zach. Carlo, happy Sunday. As always, buddy. How are we doing today?
Happy Sunday, pal. Doing well. Bike's in the shop, so no biking today. Kind of sad, but got to do the tune-up. Nothing wrong with it. Just a quick little 60-hour tune-up on it. Getting her back to day one condition. But other than that, it's Sunday, so it's the day of rest after this. After this very interesting podcast we're going to really get into here with some of the latest from the Detroit Red Wings. Zach, still a little puzzled, but we'll save that for later. How about you, pal? How's your weekend going?
Conpuzzled. I just created a new word. Confused and puzzled as well. Yeah, 8 defensemen. What are we going to do here? We got lots of questions. We're going to try and break them down this episode. But for me this weekend, I built a play set yesterday. It was a lot of fun, but sweltering heat.
Did you bring your own tools, or did you use the infamous small, tiny little Allen key or whatever comes with the playset?
I used the kid tools.
Boy.
But yeah, I saw the weather.
I know.
It's going to be
it
high 77. Other than that, nothing else. Chilling, recording, hanging out with the dogs, and enjoying the beautiful day. And with that being said, Carlo, we want to stop and say thanks for joining us once again on this brand new episode. If you are returning, if you are brand new, thanks for stopping by and joining us on this brand new episode. If you are viewing or listening to us on YouTube, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit the thumbs up, and hit that notification bell that lets you know when these brand new episodes come out, as well as our short videos that we like to put out one every day. You can also find those over on TikTok, over on Instagram as well. Follow us on all the social medias. You can find us on X, Instagram, like I mentioned, TikTok, Threads, Facebook, all of those places. You can also watch and listen to us on Spotify. Yes, you can do both. You can also find us on Apple Podcasts. And with that, go ahead and rate us 5 stars. Hit that follow button. Carlo, let's have fun with this episode. The Red Wings now have 8 defensemen.
Yep. Yes, they do.
Once again,
yes, they do.
Very similar fashion to how they started last season. So I actually want to start with that. Let's just kind of get it done and over with. Travis Hamonic signs with the Detroit Red Wings. 1 year, $1 million. Very cheap, very short term. Initial reaction to the signing.
Well, when I first seen it, I was like, what? I was like, why? Right? But then you start looking at like the 1 year, 1 million. There's like, I don't know, there's not really any risk to it. So you can't be super mad at it. There was 0 term handed out, and it was a very low contract. Puzzling, like now it's weird. And is there a rotation? Is there something? Are they trying to make Albert Johansson take a step by loading up their right-handed D some more and to possibly take that position away from him in camp? Like, is there going to be, some battles there and some different looks and different line combinations? The answer is yes to all of that. I can't see a world where Aljo is not the second pair right-handed spot. I know he's a left-handed shot, but I can't see a world where he's not there. So yeah, I don't know. Conpuzzled's a good word, dude. I that's where I'm at with it. The one thing I like about it is just the brashness that Hamonic brings, right? He hits. He is harder to play against. The question is, can he keep up with the play to be harder to play against, right? Can he even keep up with you to hit you? So this all remains to be seen. I guess we'll see. What were your initial reactions to that?
ASP will not be making the Detroit Red Wings starting lineup for the 25-26 season. That was my initial thought and reaction to that. As soon as I saw it, I was just like, we got another depth right-handed defenseman to insert onto this lineup. My first thought was, okay, on top of ASP, where does he go? He's obviously right-handed shooting defenseman. You put him on the right side, it's got to be third pair or the 7th or 8th defenseman. A lot of people we are seeing, that is a Grand Rapids Griffins move. I'm not exactly sure, 100% positive on that, because you are correct, Carlo. This is a guy who brings veteran leadership, someone who can bring the hits, someone who can block shots. And unfortunately for the Ottawa Senators last season, he did have to see top 4 minutes from time to time. He didn't play a full season. He played under 60 games last season. I just think that he's more suited for the third pair. I'm not exactly sure what that means for JBD, because a lot of people pegged him there as well. A lot of people have mentioned that Albert Johansson has played time on the right-handed D side. You could put him on the second pair with either Simon Edvinsson or Ben Sherratt. So there's a couple different things that you could go about this. So my head was asking a lot of questions, and I wanted to save those questions for this episode. And so that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be asking a lot of questions and trying to figure out what exactly type of move is going to be happening here. Because Carlo, like I mentioned, last season, the Detroit Red Wings started with 8 defensemen. and they ended up trading Olli Mata in order to give Albert Johansson more playing time. So the question to follow up with that is, who is the odd man out now? Because last year was Albert Johansson. I can't imagine it's him this year. If you have a worry about Albert Johansson, you probably shouldn't regarding his playing time. I know Carlo has other worries on top of that, but who is the odd man out here, Carlo?
I think it's 2 to 3 players. I think, although he just got signed, I think Hamonic is an odd man out. I think Bernard Docker's potentially an odd man out. But I want to preface odd man out, and I think they're just going to battle for a spot. So like they're the odd man out until they prove that they belong type of thing, which I like that type of process. I do, because you're not just walking into this lineup. I can't see a world where these guys are signing these aging players and saying we're going to fix our defense by signing these guys. That's not the case. We're well aware of that. But if you're bringing in Hamonic and Bernard Docker's now an odd man out, Hamonic's an odd man out, dude, maybe even, Justin Holl's an odd man out. You got 3 guys right there that are now battling for a spot. So does that elevate their game? Maybe. I think that might be the point. But I think to answer your question directly, all 3 of those guys that I mentioned are odd men out until they prove that they belong, which is we're going to see happen in camp and then preseason, because we have, 50 preseason games. So yeah, that'll be fun.
And just to showcase what Daily Faceoff has for the opening night roster defensive pairing, so far right now they have Ben Sherrod, Moritz Seider on the top pair, Simon Edvinsson, Albert Johansson on the second pair, Carlo. So there's hope there. It's exactly what you like, I know that. And then Erik Gustafsson, Jacob Bernard Docker on the third pair. So your extras then would be Justin Holl and Travis Hamonic.
You want to laugh? The depth chart on Puckpedia has Hamonic in the third pair right spot. So I think this just goes to show you that nobody's sure, and there's going to be a battle.
Yep. We just shifted over tabs to showcase that yeah, anything goes here, but we are seeing a theme here that these 2 different websites, they have Albert Johansson in the top 4 here.
Yeah, I think
we have heard that Albert Johansson has played on the right-handed side in his time in Grand Rapids. Is that a preference? No. You guys know that I'm all about the symmetrical solution. I want right-handed Ds on the right side. I want lefties on the left side. Am I hurt by this? By any means? No. I think that this probably makes the most sense if you want a legit top 4 defense, or at least the most legit you can make it, Carlo.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to look at skill a little bit here, because I don't want to say we don't have it. It's building. But like Albert Johansson belongs on the second pairing, whether it's left or right. We know Edvinsson's locking down the left-hand side. Aljo's the guy. Listen, I went the last season, man, the couple games that I went to, I was fortunate enough to see Albert Johansson score. I think it was his first goal. It was a nasty goal, and it happened on the right side. He was on the right. He was playing right spot and right time, right place. Raymond sauced a nasty pass to him, found him, cross crease, and he tucked it. It was gorgeous, and it came from the right-hand side. So I don't know if that's worth anything, but I think you're going to see that top 4 is going to be a lock until there's a move where, I don't know if there's a world where Sherratt gets traded and Edvinsson pops up. I don't know, and then maybe Aljo shifts over to Edvinsson's spot. We're just going down the road here at this point, but the top 4 is a lock, dude. I don't see a world where one of Hamonic, which I'm just going to say Holmonic to reference both Holl and Hamonic. So Holmonic, they're not going to be in the top 4. God, I hope not. And Bernard Docker, dude, he might be. And we don't know yet. We got to see how this guy plays within the system, how he plays under Trent Yanni. But I can't really comment on Bernard Docker and him being in the top 4 or out of the top 4 confidently, because I really don't know too much about him. I want to see him play. But again, that's if a move were to happen. Until that point, I doubt that even point happens at this point. Sherratt, Seider, Edvinsson, Aljo. Lock it in and let's go.
The one thing that I don't believe that the coaches are going to do this, but I know GMs sometimes like to do this. They have the veteran preference to utilize the players within the lineup. Also, money seems to always play a factor. Well, we're paying this guy, so we might as well play him. I don't know. I disagree with JBD being in the press box as it's showcased here on Puckpedia. I would prefer to remove Travis Hamonic or Erik Gustafsson from the lineup. If I could, probably do both if I could in a perfect world, but I can't, unfortunately. Yeah. But we haven't even gone into Travis Hamonic's stats to showcase his worth because, like, there are fans online, Carlo, that truly believe that Travis Hamonic will start the 25-26 season in Grand Rapids for the Griffins. And we did a poll on that, and that's what majority of the people who voted for. They actually do believe that.
I'm going to go back to my reference of Hamonic. I think there's between Holl and Hamonic, one of those two are playing, I would think, are going to be playing or spending some time playing a few games in GR. I don't know which one yet. And I don't think anybody knows which one yet, to be honest with you, dude. I think these guys need to get to camp, and they're probably eager to get this squad to camp to see what happens. I really think there's going to be a battle and decisions are going to be made, dude, right before game one. Like, I honestly think that's kind of the route here.
So per Evolving Hockey, this is the stat card for Travis Hamonic. They have him as an overall 2 with a 1 defense and a 7 defense. And the highest you can go is up to 100. So that's clearly not good numbers right there, Carlo. Overall, just does not do anything well for your team offensively or defensively. But like I mentioned, granted, he was put into a position to play in the top 4 for the Ottawa Senators, which I'm sure was superly over-indexed. Could you imagine if we inserted Justin Holl in the top 4 and we had him play the whole season? This is what his stat card would look like, more than likely, Carlo.
You know what's crazy, though? This is last season. I mean, Ottawa made the playoffs, dude.
And they did.
You know, so I know the play is obviously what you're seeing. It's not good, but they made the playoffs. So begs the question at this point is Travis Hamonic, is he hard to play against? Can he keep up with these guys? Because I'm sure you're gonna break down the hits and the blocks. And I know he had quite a few hits, and I know he's a brash type of player, and he can bring that old time hockey, no pun intended, to the team or to the defense. Can he keep up? That's my question. Can he keep up?
Yeah, that's a great question, and let's showcase that. So moving over tabs once again to Money Puck, he was ranked 6th on the team to play in 59 games and was 6th on the team in ice time with 1,006 minutes. And yeah, going over, you can see here that he only managed 1 goal, 6 assists for 7 points here, 1 primary assist, 5 secondary assists there as well. In terms of where he gets deployed, obviously he gets most of his shift starts in the defensive zone. Obviously, most are going to be on the fly. That's going to be any player. So we're not even really going to look at that because that stat doesn't really mean too much here. But in terms of the hits, 73. He would be 4th on the Detroit Red Wings in terms of hits, right behind Simon Edvinsson, who had 86, and right above Albert Johansson, who had 70. And Albert Johansson played in 61 games this season. And then if you want to go ahead and talk about as well, the block shots, Travis Hamonic was 6th on the team with 92 on the Detroit Red Wings. He would have been 4th on the team underneath Ben Sherratt, who had 142, and above Albert Johansson, who had 83.
So quickly, just where my mind's going here, he might actually start opening night roster as the 3rd pairing, and I'm going to tell you why. You go and look at Justin Holl's hits and Justin Holl's blocks. I don't think I'm taking Hamonic over Justin Holl there. The only person that we'd have to look at next, again, I told you guys, I don't know too much about him, but I'm going to look it up, is Bernard Docker in terms of blocks and hits. I mean, I look at his numbers too. I'm probably starting the season with Travis Hamonic, dude. Believe it or not, because he's going to bring some brash to that 3rd pair. He's going to hit. He's going to block. Hall's not doing that.
Yeah.
We don't know about Bernard yet.
Yeah, I will say, to try to give benefit of the doubt to JBD, he just never was given the role that he probably deserved, or at least the time that he probably deserved to at least showcase what he could do for a team. He was on a bad Buffalo Sabres team. Then he got traded to the Ottawa Senators. They really didn't use him that much, and then they let him walk for free, and their fans were actually upset. And I bet you their fans would have rather had a JBD if they had a choice and their GM was stuck between 2 players, JBD or Travis Hamonic. I guarantee you most of the Sens fans would have said we would rather have JBD over Travis Hamonic. But I would agree with you, Carlo, that as of right now, before entering training camp, Travis Hamonic has the edge over players like Eric Gustafsson, Justin Holl, and Jeff Petry's not even on the team anymore, but Eric Gustafsson and Justin Holl. But
Jeff
even
Petry's
then,
about to win a cup in Florida, dude. That's nuts.
But even then, he put up better numbers than Albert Johansson did in less games. A little bit more time on ice. Granted. Is he going to be better than Albert Johansson? Dear God, I hope not. Albert Johansson, I expect him to take a step.
Yeah.
He's going to be better than Travis Hamonic.
I think he will be. But hey, dude, don't be surprised if you see some interesting looks in preseason. Like, we might. I think that's the whole point. Like, we're going to. But yeah, to your point, I can't see it where Aljo gets knocked out of that top 4 spot. But maybe that's the whole reason why we have 8 defensemen, is to make him take a step. Like I said earlier, it's all part of that psychology of building a roster and earning your spot, earning your time, right?
I mean, this one guy, Travis Hamonic, he outpaced hits if you combined Eric Gustafsson and Justin Holl.
I know. That's
puts up more block shots as well. So this is a guy that you're bringing in to limit on the defensive end. If you're only going to play him for 15 or 16 minutes, that's fine. Play him for 14 minutes. Play him only for the PK.
As long as it's only in the defensive zone.
And that's probably what the Red Wings are going to utilize him for, is mostly low-end 5-on-5 time as least as possible if they can, and not put him in certain situations where he's going to get burned, and then utilize him on the PK for the hits and the block shots. Hopefully he can play well in front and knock those bodies out in front of the net. I know you have gripe over Justin Holl. I know you want to say it so bad.
You know where I'm going. It's just it just flashback to Cole Caulfield out-muscling Justin Holl. Huge weight difference, huge height difference, and Caulfield scored a goal. And it was a costly goal because we didn't win the game.
Now, I will nitpick on Travis Hamonic, because our good buddy Michael Devellino, he posted Exhibit A and B for us.
Pucks and Dreams _ Make sure you check that out because he's got some good video of Travis Hamonic.
And we did ask him your personal opinion on it. He thinks that he could be a 5th to 6th defenseman for the Detroit Red Wings. I wouldn't go as high as 5th, but obviously if opportunity comes knocking and he showcases that he can be a little bit better, perfect. Cool. That's what we want. We don't want you to be bad. We want you to be good. But yeah, in that video, Carlo, he was really good in the defensive zone in terms of getting the puck off of players' sticks and disrupting the play. The one thing that I will gripe about him and that I didn't like is the amount of giveaways that he had. I mean, a lot of bad passes to the center ice or just to the opposing team's player flat out. So it gave me flashes of Justin Holl for sure. But let's highlight that. So here, Eric Gustafsson, 75 giveaways, Justin Holl, 66. And then we're going to go over to look at Travis Hamonic over here, who had 62.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot. That's high. But that's why I can't see, and that's the other part of it. That's why I can't see him cracking the top 4. Because with the top 4 comes more ice time, obviously, right? And you're going to have more giveaways. Now, keep in mind, these 62 giveaways, that's him playing top 4. So if he's coming to Detroit and he's kind of locked in and cemented into that third pairing where his ice time is dramatically reduced, I'm expecting those giveaways to go down quite a bit. But like, dude, look at that. Holy smokes. That's a large percentage of your total giveaways in the zone you don't want to be giving the puck away, and that's the D zone, which, I mean, that's the last thing we need, considering the last 2 seasons.
In the D zone, 47, that's 8 less than Eric Gustafsson, 6 less than Justin Holl. Jeff Petrie didn't even have that.
This guy just screams. I think he's, honestly, dude, at this point, going through this, I think he's 100% starting opening night roster as a third pair. Right, D.
At this point, I would agree with you. What else try to make it make sense, Carlo? Now, let's go into a different question before we actually try to figure out what the defensive opening night roster will look like, because we'll go back to Puckpedia and try to figure that out, and we'll wrap up this episode. It's going to be a short episode today, and then part 3 of our What If Steve Yzerman was general manager in 2016, that will be releasing later this week, if you guys are keeping up with that. If you guys haven't, go ahead and check out parts 1 and 2. It's pretty exciting. They're a little bit longer, but I think you guys will thoroughly enjoy those episodes. But
Fun exercise. Let's hit it.
Are we going to waive or are we going to trade a defenseman? Last season, we started out with we already mentioned this. We traded Olli Maatta so Albert Johansson could play. I asked you who's the odd man out, but at this point, are we waiving or are we going to make a trade? Because we asked Hockeytown West, we asked them what Grand Rapids defensive roster looked like currently. Sounds like they already have 8 players locked up. Do they want a 9th defenseman? So if you went that waiving route, or do you trade someone? And who's going to take any of the guys that we don't want? Who wants Eric Gustafsson? Who wants Justin Holl? Who wants JBD?
Well,
Anyone?
The two players I think of, the one player I think of in terms of tradability, desirable as heck, especially with his latest contract, is Albert Johansson. That's kind of why I put out a tweet when Hamonic was signed. I'm like, man, I hope this means, like, I hope Aljo's safe. Like, I hope he's not on the move. That's why I put that out. So for me, trade, it's Aljo or somehow Ben Sherratt. Really the only two defensemen that I can see getting traded. It's hard to answer that question, man. I think you might see, honestly, I think you might see both. I think you might see a wave happen, and then I think you might see a trade, and that player who got waived gets recalled. That's kind of the combination I'm thinking.
You know what this also creates, too, that I don't think I've seen too many people mention? We have a 23-man roster here now, and we already did before. You know who's not on here? Carter Mazur.
Yep. Yeah, he's in the press box, right? Oh, he's just not on this. He's not even. Wow. Okay.
He would be in Grand Rapids, so Austin Watson technically would take that over. I don't think that would be the case. I think Austin Watson would actually start in Grand Rapids, but only if you knew that Carter Mazur was getting playing time. Unless the Detroit Red Wings, Tom McClellan and Steve Yzerman, they want him to go the Albert Johansson route where he sits a couple games, practices, then he gets a game or two.
Yeah,
but I don't like how this is set up so far. Personally, to me, Carlo, this is not my preference whatsoever. I don't like how we have JBD, Justin Holl in the press box. I mean, I don't mind that. That's fine. That's probably where they should be in a perfect reality.
Yeah.
But Austin Watson really shouldn't be in there. Now you have Carter Mazur down there. Travis Hamonic is your third pairing defenseman. I don't like that Albert Johansson is your second pair right-handed defenseman. I prefer him to be on the left. And going back to the question that I asked you, I would prefer to trade Ben Sherratt, but teams are going to look at Albert Johansson and be like, that cap hit for that length at that age.
He's the most desirable guy.
Third pair.
100%.
He would just make the most sense if you wanted a return. Obviously, if you were going to go out and trade for it, and everyone keeps on bringing up these players. Robertson, McTavish, Kyle Connor. These are the players. These are the ready now players, unfortunately, that you have mentioned before, Carlo, that years ago, we didn't have these desirable players.
No, we did not.
Now we kind of do because we have showcased them in the NHL.
The problem is that they're desirable, but I don't think they're desirable enough. And I'm going to say yet. They're not desirable enough yet to get us back a return that does not leave us with another void in the lineup. We're just not, it's not there yet. They're still young, and they just haven't taken that next step to where another team is going to, go after and really scout these guys that we have and give us back enough to be excited about. I think if we part with Aljo, I don't know if we're getting like a solidified top four back, maybe in a package deal, but then does that package deal then leave us with that void I was talking about? That's the thing. Like they're not there yet. So that's my thought on it anyway. That's kind of where I'm thinking. So, all roads are really pointing to another nail biter season with over-indexing. Unless something crazy happens, which you can't really rule out, but I don't think it's going to happen just based off of history and how things are kind of rolling on this offseason. I don't think it's going to happen. So I think we're heading towards another nail biter type of season with the type of hockey we've seen the last 2 years, which can be very, very exciting and very, very good, but can also be very, very bad. So we need to buckle up, because that's kind of what I'm thinking. And I'm hoping it's not the latter. I'm hoping we see more consistent, solid, exciting hockey, which there's a chance we will with Todd and Trent.
Yeah.
Whole season, there's a chance for that. We saw them snap off 2 7-game heaters, so there's 100% a chance for that. But it all remains to be seen, and I just don't think there's another big move coming in terms of filling a top 4 defensive spot or a top line left wing spot. I don't see it coming.
Yeah, I guess just to kind of follow along with what you were saying in terms of a package deal, I agree with you. I don't think you're getting an immediate fix if you were to move on from an Albert Johansson to fix that top 4 spot. You might get a veteran with a high cap in return for maybe a year, maybe 2, maybe he's a right-handed D that a team just doesn't need anymore, and we could utilize him because we have Travis Hamonic and JBD on 1-year deals. We could use a guy that...
Are you thinking about EK65 right now? I think that's who you're thinking about.
No, not trying to throw out names out there, but I like where your head is going. But yeah, that could be something similar to that, right? So to me, It's about I'm going to ask you a question. What do you project Albert Johansson could be? Do you believe he could be a top 4 defenseman at his highest point? Do you think he could be that? Because that's why a team, I believe, and that's kind of where I disagree with you. You said something about teams aren't going out and scouting this guy. I mean, we're facing off all against the other 31 teams majority of the time, right? So
Yeah.
in terms of that, they see him. Maybe there are GMs out there that say, I could see this guy projecting to being a top 4 defenseman. Maybe not right now for us, and we can put him in that third pair spot, but eventually 2 to 3 years from now, he's going to be our top 4 left-handed defenseman. So do you believe he could be that, Carla?
I don't think that. I think he can. I think on a really good team. So let's put it this way. Let me ask you this question, which is going to answer the question. Do you see Albert Johansson being a top 4 D-man on the Florida Panthers?
I think that's a little unfair to ask it considering what they currently have. So it would be tough for me to answer that.
You don't need to answer it specifically. Like, it's just a thought process. Like, when this team's really good and their defense has literally solid guys that are absolute locks in the top 4, I do not think Johansson is in the top 4. I think on a really good team, he's on the third line. On a team that has a struggling defense, he's on the top 4 because he's really the only other option we have. That's kind of my thought process.
I do see a world where, thinking far ahead, 3 to 4 years from now, because then Albert Johansson would be 28. All these guys would be in their closer to their prime years, let's say. ASP's on the roster. So your top 4 is Edvinsson, Seider, Johansson, ASP. I think that top 4 can actually help you make it deep into the playoffs. Be a Stanley Cup team? I don't know. I think Albert Johansson can be a top 4 defenseman. A top 4 defenseman, that I hesitate on. I'm not going to say he's elite. I'm not going to say that he could be the best top 4 defenseman in the entire league. But I do believe that he can be a top 4 defenseman. And so with that, I do believe that there are GMs out there that also share the same thought process on Albert Johansson and his potential to becoming that type of player. We see the potential. He can score a little bit. He plays defense. He knows how to get up into the faces of the opposing players as well.
Yeah, I think he's great for that stuff. Absolutely.
So that's my argument against Albert Johansson. I can kind of see him being a top 4 defenseman. But to answer your question, would he fit on a Florida Panthers team? If they didn't have a top 4 defenseman right now and they needed someone and they thought Albert Johansson could do it, yeah, they could put him there. Would he thrive there? Probably not.
Yeah,
I would say. So you got to give him a little bit more time. It would be one of those things where I'm doing it now and then hoping that he grows into what I want him to be.
And that's exactly what I was referring to when I talked about, Eljo being hypothetically part of a trade to make our team better. He's not enough to do it on his own. It would require a package that would leave us with a void. But hey, maybe he has a hell of a season this coming season. And maybe he does get traded for a like player who fills the spot and without creating another void for us. So who knows? I mean, this is all stuff that I'm sure we'll discuss again as the season goes on, as we approach trade deadline and whatnot. To your point, I love it. And I really hope Johansson does continue to get better and better. I'm a huge fan of him. And if he does kind of curate that top 4 role for himself, good on him, man. That I would love nothing more, but I'm just looking at it, I guess, with surprisingly, I guess, a bit of a glass half empty type of view, which normally I'm a half full type of guy, but just tempering expectations, I guess. Steve Yzerman got the best of me on that one.
One thing I will say is that a lot of people, and I want to challenge folk because I'm trying to do this myself too. Separate yourself from the names of these players for a second and try to look closely at what can this newer-ish, I'm not going to say they're new, this newer-ish coaching staff can do for these players. Because we truly haven't seen their full potential and what they could do for these kids and for these vets that we have, not only on the defensive end. You look at John Gibson, what can they do for John Gibson? What can they do on the forward end, the defensive end? Looking at the young guys that we can see eventually coming up onto the roster as well. I mean, we saw what it did for Marco Kasper. We saw how it elevated players like Albert Johansson, Simon Edvinsson.
This is a great question.
That's what we hope for.
Yeah, no, you're bang on. You got 2 guys with a new system, a new voice for a full season. Listen, a lot of people, we've seen it so many times. A lot of people were under the impression that had we have had Todd and Trent for the full season last year, this team would have likely made the playoffs.
Yeah, what was the estimated point total when they originally came in? If they were the coaches, we would have had enough points to actually make the playoffs.
Correct. So
yeah,
that's the exciting part of what we're about to get into this coming season. It's Todd and it's Trent. And I can't wait to bring back the Todd father. In Todd we trust.
Oh, yeah.
You know that's coming back with a vengeance. We got to figure something out for Jans. We got to figure something out for him. But anyways, that is a very exciting piece, dude. And that part, I guess that's the unknown. We don't know what a full season with those two looks like, and that's the exciting part. That's the thrilling part of what we're getting into this season. But either way, you know, we saw some in the last 2 seasons, we saw flashes of some really, really good hockey. So we have that to look forward to because we've seen it for 2 years. It's a matter of identifying the gaps on the defensive side, which I'm hoping Trent and Todd can do, along with having some very exciting, good hockey. And this team may surprise quite a few people. I'm not afraid to say that at all. But again, these things remain to be seen. And it's why we do this every week, to break things down and to see how we're projecting and how we're looking week in, week out. And I'll be honest with you, dude, I'm just super pumped for hockey to come back at this point. My withdrawals are like at 100%.
Yeah, the Holinka Cup was actually, it finished off yesterday with USA.
Yep.
USA. USA. Going for gold. I love it. Congratulations, Team USA.
Yeah, congrats. That's huge. That's huge. But
I'm sure we'll get in touch with...
Wish you could did it in the Four Nations though, eh? Boom!
Next time we have Michael Devolano on the podcast, we will have him go in depth about that, maybe talk about some of the players that are in there, because those will be future draft picks. So, but Carlo, let's go ahead and kind of wrap up this episode. We're going to keep it light today. I think moving forward, that's the plan overall, is that we're going to keep these episodes lighter. Obviously, if something big happens, then we'll try to make the discourse longer. Improving, getting better. We're going to do more for you folk as well, you boys and girls at home that love to watch and listen to us. Thank you, as always.
Thank you very much.
Carlo, how would you... We talked about it off air before starting the recording, but obviously for the discourse, do you want to keep this defense the same as they have it on Puckpedia, or what kind of changes would you personally make? Let's showcase it to the fans. How would you want to design this defense?
I would probably keep it the same as what we're seeing right now, dude, to be completely honest with you. Until we see games, until we get some sample sizes in, and until we can see how these guys play with one another, I would, as of right now, keep it the same. I think Travis Hamonic belongs on the third pair right spot, considering who else we have, unless JBD plays his skates off and beats him out. Yeah, that's where I'm at. Justin Holl, like, dude, I don't even know if that guy's going to see 15 games at this point.
You don't maybe think, that's you even or you hope, but he doesn't. Those are two different things.
Both.
I'm kind of with you there. I would agree, and I think most would agree. What was the name that you made up for them?
Justin Hamonic. So if you're referring to both of them, rather than just call him Hamonic, and then you just kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone there.
That's too hilarious. The change I would make here that I mentioned off air was this. I would push Albert Johansson down to the third pair. I would put JBD up here with Simon Edmondson, Travis Hamonic with Albert Johansson, Gustafsson, and the press box. I actually don't mind this. I do prefer this. I actually think people are sleeping on JBD, and I don't think it would be out of this world if you started with this opening night roster just to see how it pans out. And you can always make the changes.
You're going to see it. You're going to see a look for sure. You're going to see a look, dude. I would love this, but that we're betting a lot on JBD. So
100,
and that's fine. That's okay. I hope he's that kind of guy. I hope he's that kind of guy for us. That makes us deeper if it's the case, because now we know what Aljo can do already, and now he's on the third pairing. So, I'm okay with that, and I honestly kind of like it and leaning towards it. I just need to see it from JBD, and I think so does the coaching staff, so does Steve. Frankly, so does JBD. Like, he's got to go and do that. So I think that is a lineup you're going to see. You're 100% going to see a look of that. Let's hope it's a good look, and we can kind of roll from there.
Yeah, 100%. There's a reason why JBD only got $875,000 is because it's essentially a prove it deal. Hey, we see what you've done. You got an NHL time. Would you be a 6th, 7th, or 8th defenseman coming onto the team? You have to challenge for a spot. That's exactly what he has to do. He has to skate his skates off, like you mentioned, this training camp. and blow the doors open and be able to insert himself in a spot. And if it's not there, the last thing I want to see is Travis Hamonic playing in that top four. Suns fans were ripping apart on him. And obviously us too. Travis Hamonic, maybe he could do a little bit better on a better defensive team. I'll say I think the Red Wings defense is better than the Ottawa Senators. At least comparing it to last year, maybe not so much this year. I think it's 50-50. It's a coin toss. But that's my personal take. Other than that, I don't like that Carter Mazur isn't able to insert in this lineup. I guess this is my final thoughts, Carlo. I'm just saying it now. I don't like that Carter Mazur isn't in here. Let us know in the comments as well what you guys think about this overall, the Travis Hamonic sighting. If you have worries, I love how we touched on Albert Johansson, because I do think that there is some sort of a worry there potentially. Because like Carlos said, maybe there is something bigger in the works. I don't think that there is. I think it would happen more so in the season, like we saw it last season. Defenseman gets moved if a team sees someone that has value. But I don't like this, nor do I hate it. I guess I'm meh. I'm right in the middle, Carlo.
That's exactly, that sounds exactly like where you should be with this, because that's exactly where I'm at.
Well, once again, I want to challenge everyone to try to take away looking at the name of the players that we have on here. I know it's tough looking at that whole entire defensive pairings, but try to focus more on the type of potential that the coaches can bring and elevate these players that we know that they can be and hope to be.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're banking on. Your
final thoughts, buddy.
I mean, you really wrapped it up nicely, dude. To be honest with you, like, I'm with you on this stuff. I loved your last point on the coaching staff and putting some stock into those guys. We seen what they were able to do when they came in, new coach bump or not. We saw what they were able to do with this team when they came in and when they arrived. So imagine what they can do now. And we're back to that whole thing for a full season and a camp. So, I think there's a lot to be excited about. I can see the other side where there's still a lot to be desired. But there's levels to this stuff, and it's looking more and more like this is going to be the lineup going into this coming season. So take that for what it's worth. Again, barring any crazy moves that I would love, but I just don't see happening realistically. But like Zach said, the coaching staff having their grip on these guys makes for a reason to be excited. And young guys taking steps, that's another big reason to be excited. I mean, you get back to looking at the age of these kids that we're all excited about. I know I still call them kids, but they're still not even entering their prime yet. They're just at that cusp, and they may very well enter it this year, which is back to my original point. Could be very exciting. So yeah, I mean, it's been a hell of a ride to this point, and we'll see what happens. Because I mean, we kind of need something to happen at this point. So that's my final thought. We need something good to happen. Zach.
I'm just laughing because it seems like Carlo doesn't have anything else to say, and he's just crawling for space.
I don't know what else. I really don't know what else to say. I just want the season to start. Okay, let's just have the season start, please.
Yeah, I want it to start too. Well, if you guys are interested in the prospect tournament, too bad that's going to be in Texas. You can go to the training camp. There will be the red and white game in Grand Rapids. I will be going to that with some friends. Carlo, I'm not sure if you can make that. I know you got baby duty as always. But
yeah,
we
still
will
tough.
be there. Yep. Yeah, get to see all the players play, do a little observing to see exactly what potentially the opening night roster could look like. And then, we got to follow up with preseason and everything. We're ending it here. So thanks again for joining us on this brand new episode. Once again, if you are returning, if you are brand new, thanks for stopping by. Once again, we truly do appreciate it. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit the thumbs up, hit that notification bell. That lets you know when these brand new episodes come out, as well as our short videos. And you can find us as well on Spotify, Apple, and all the major social media platforms like Twitter, X, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, TikTok. And with that being said, Carlo, we'll see y'all on the next one.
Yes.
See ya.
Later.
Love you. Bye.